I hope all is well with you. Your weekend was good, right? Okay, great. So let's get to our very first story. This has to do with the passage or the revision of the Energy Sector Levies Act, and of course one that saw the issue of the what it's called the Doomsday levy now, and the Ghana Revenue Authority had announced the new levy rates on petroleum products effective today, March 9th, 2025, under the revised Energy Sector Levies Act 2004, Act 1141. The announcement was made through Tariff Interpretation Order number 25-003-6 to clarify and enforce the implementation of the Energy Sector Levies Amendment Act. Let me share with you, before I share with you what was then the effective some action was made on that. The act was introduced to raise additional revenue to address energy sector shortfalls, reduce legacy debts, and stabilize the country's power supply. The GRE directive outlines significant increases in the energy sector shortfall and debt repayment levy on a range of petroleum products, including petrol, diesel, marine gas oil, and heavy fuel oil. Under the new directive, motor spirit super petrol from 0.95 to 1.95, AGO diesel and marine gas oil foreign from 0.93 to 1.93, marine gas oil, which is local, from 0.003 to 0.23, heavy fuel, residual fuel, RFO, from 0.004 to 0.24, partially refined oil, which is naphtha, from 0.95 to 1.95. Liquefied petroleum gas remains unchanged, that's 0.73. Then after that, we heard from this particular group, which is the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, COMAC, and this is what they had written to the Ghana Revenue Authority, specifically the Commissioner General. And we write to register our utmost dismay and strong objection to the letter received from your office this morning. They dated it Friday, June 6, 2025, Sunday, 8, a public holiday. The letter demands implementation of a new energy sector shortfall and debt repayment levy effective Monday, 9th June 2025. Let us state the facts plainly. This approach is neither lawful nor operationally feasible. It smacks of coercion rather than governance and depicts a military regime issuing a backdated directive on a holiday and serving it on a holiday for next day compliance borders on institutional ambush. So the matter is that we therefore wish, so the crux of the matter, which is of course the last two paragraphs, wish to therefore state unequivocally that COMAC and its members cannot will not begin implementation of this levy from Monday, 9th of June. And so then, quickly, the Ghana Revenue Authority revised this particular one, directive to 16th of June, and COMAC writes back to them and says they welcome the revised implementation date. The Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies wishes to formally acknowledge and commend the Ministry of Energy, Green Transition, the Ministry of Finance, and the National Petroleum Authority and the Ghana Revenue Authority for the constructive engagements held regarding the implementation date of the new Energy Sector Levies Act 2025. Well, so that's that. The back and forth now is being shifted to 16th of June.
Yeah.
Aside that, there's been a lot of other bodies who have called for, who have called this particular one draconian and have called for a withdrawal of same. Quick one.
Well, it's one, the implementation of this policy, one, as they have earmarked the Doomsday levy, you know, it's one of the policy that have come to, according to the reason why it's being implemented is to cut off the debt that have been accumulated by the previous government. You know, this is a debt that has accumulated over the years, and as part of the government initiative to alleviate this is why they have brought up this levy. And I think everyone should be excited about it. One, because when you look at the crisis with our energy sector, the frequent do so that is affecting economic implementation, a lot of things that are in this country, for the government to come up with such a bold step to clear the debt, scrap the debt so that we can have a stable power for 24 hours, I think it's a good policy. One, I think the implementation was some way because I don't know why the opposition have to walk out of parliament when it came to the debate. You know, these are policies that have come, they are good policies. And it is true there are some loopholes that with it. People are not really happy with the 1 cedi. People think it should be 50 pesos and other things. These are things that they can bring on negotiation table, talk about it, discuss it, and come out with what is best for us. But for them to just walk out and the thing has already been implemented. All the same, I think with time, if this is done very well, the debt will be cleared. But my question is, the system that is existing, the energy sector, have we put up systems and policies that there would not be mismanagement to the extent that another debt will come up? Because the issue is that we don't want debt, we want to clear the debt. The people that are in power, people who are managing it are the same people that are there. What policies have we put in place so that we don't have issue of the debt rather increasing or whatever? So I think holistically that we should have a stakeholders meeting about the whole thing. All those that are involved, as they have put some injection as to the implementation, there should be a discussion as to which of this, how will I even say it, whether the money involved, the 1 cedi, is it the best for consumers? Is it going to really affect the price of fuel? Because a lot of people are excited with the reduction. When you go and you see the 12.2, the 13, everybody is excited about it. And a lot of people are saying that it's virtually going to increase the price of fuel, which the NDC is saying that it's insignificant. But from all the discussion that is taking place, it points to the point that there is going to be a change in the price. So one, there should be much education. People should be elaborated. The NCC should come in, should educate the whole public that no, this levy is not necessarily going to increase the price of fuel. It's not, because all that, I was even talking to somebody this morning, say, hey, 1 gallon is it 40 cedis. So every 40 cedis of fuel you buy, you pay 1 cedi. So if you happen to consume, let's say 500 Ghana cedis of fuel, that is a lot of tax. So he was asking, what is the significance of removing the e-levy and bringing this levy? And all these debates are taking place. So I think that on a more serious note, there should be much education on it. The implementation should take place, but we should look at the people that are involved, people that are managing the energy sector. Are they putting the same structures? Because if the same structures are what are going to be used, then I don't think the debt will be cleared. If you are trying to clear a debt and the people are still using the same system, the same approach, the same individuals are doing the same thing, then I don't think we are making any significant gain.
I see. Reverend Anaya, if you can hear me, good morning and thanks for your time. What are your thoughts on this particular one?
Let me say this very quickly. First, I would want to reiterate the position of the Comac people, that I think the government has ambushed not just Comac, but the whole Ghana. And I found the way this particular bill was rushed very distasteful and very insensitive. And I must say that maybe we forget too quickly, but this is exactly how the past administration went about things and lost favor with the Ghanaian populace. And I think it's too early in the day for our president and his team to go on that route. This is a debt that has been there in the last 5-6 months that they took over and was there even long before. I don't think that, I mean, if COMAC can get them to extend the implementation from 9th June to 16th June, COMAC is just a small fraction. They are the marketing companies that are going to help the implementation. We are going to be paying the ones. I think that the government has shown more respect even to COMAC than the Ghanaians from whose pocket the money will be coming from. What would have stopped them from giving us that at least 1 week of education like what Reverend Xavier is talking about? I found it very preposterous and very unfortunate. For me, I don't know about others, but the first time I heard of this bill, the following day it was passed. So for me, I don't know about others, but at least for me, I've had less than 48 hours even to digest it. Look, there is no bad way of doing a good thing. You understand? There's no bad way of doing a good thing. When you are doing a good thing, you must do the good thing in a good way. And I feel that the way this thing was rushed, that's my first beef, is improper. And that is what is feeding into all this propaganda, because I've now had two versions. I don't know which one is right. The Honorable Ato Kisel Forsen was actually saying on the floor when he introduced this bill that it's not going to increase the price of fuel, because whatever increase should have come, or whatever decrease should have come because of the strength of the dollar, will not be affected, so that it will be absorbed in the 1 cedi. So what it means is that, let's say, if because of the gain, we were supposed to move from 12 cedis to 11 cedis, we'll keep it at 12.20 to absorb that 1 cedi. So really, we are not going to be seeing the 12.20 jumping to 13.20. Why can't such a thing be simply communicated? You get my point? And I feel that that gap in communication is creating a whole lot of confusion. Secondly, also, it has become a very terrible, picturesque view of robbing Peter to pay Paul, because 1% e-levy on 1,000 cedi transaction is actually 10 cedis. But if you are collecting 1 cedi for every liter, and I bought 1,000 cedis worth of fuel in the week, I'm going to be paying about 83 to 86 Ghana cedis on that amount of money. So in the end, we are doing about 8 times more. So I'm asking myself, was the e-levy removed to fulfill a political promise for which a huge deficit was left in government financing? And therefore, this surprise had to be sprung on us. So again, I think that we should stop playing politics. You remember, Koku, several times I came to your studio and I said that I don't believe e-levy must be withdrawn. I don't know if you remember my position on this, and that we should rather start to cap it on certain transactions. From 0 to 100, this is the cap. From 100 to this, that's the cap. And then do a proper gradation, the same way we do with our taxation system, where people are within certain tax brackets based on their earning. Even with our electricity consumption, we've done the same thing. We have people who consume below a certain level that they don't pay any taxes at all on their consumption. That is how you create a fair society. So I feel that the way this whole thing has been handled, the stakeholder consultation has not been good, and it puts the government in a very bad light. I will tell you that the plus for the government is that in the 5 months, the economy seems to have been managed well. We seem to have made gains on the forex front. Let us hold our fingers crossed and be in strong prayer that the untoward will not happen and will not see the dollar spiraling up. For this matter, the Ghanaians will keep quiet over it until the dollar seems to go up and fuel prices go up. Pressure will mount. My friend is Associate Professor Sam Jaku with ISSER. He's done some very interesting analysis on this particular thing. In fact, if the currency should hold still, right, at where it is, and petrol prices on the international market should hold still, we will need something between 8 to 9 years of paying this levy to be able to retire the debt. Meanwhile, the energy minister is also telling us that this particular money is not even to retire the debt, but to ensure that we have the necessary fuels for us to generate power. So which is which? Because we are being told this is to retire the debt. The substantive minister of the sector is saying that it will not retire the debt, but keep the lights on. So what exactly are we, because that debt, how will we do? Because Reverend Xavier made some very important point. How did we arrive there? Are those same management systems and those same managers that brought us here still at post? Who is paying for bringing us into this situation? Because we are beginning to get the shorter end of the stick as Ghanaian people, where politicians come, technocrats come, they create a mess, go back home richer, collect their ex gratia, collect their their emoluments, collect their benefits, and go home and sleep in peace. And then we have to share the bill for ourselves. Those state institutions that are owing electricity, when will they pay? The big industries in Ghana are owing in the millions. When will they pay? All these are the people that are putting pressure on the system. And excuse me, say the very ordinary Ghanaian who has very little is being pressured with this one city. It is unfair, it's unjust, it's immoral, and the government must start to show clear signs that we are redeeming that. Another point I want to make is that monies like this have been received before. The problem has always been transparency and accountability, because we're told money was in the ESLA fund. In the end, it was never used to retire debt. What is the guarantee? What are the transparency mechanisms? Because I've not seen any in this bill. That is very clear that we'll be briefing Ghanaians on the amount that comes by the month, by every quarter, and show them a very clear expenditure sheet on how we are disbursing these funds for the purpose of you collected, because we are so indisciplined when it comes to physical issues that we will take the money and use it for something else, hoping that another money will come and then we'll sort the problem out. So what is the transparency and accountability systems that come together with this particular thing? Then my last point I want to make is that cabinet must reverse immediately the decision that certain state institutions must enjoy free power. It must be reversed immediately. A man that owes does not give free things. It is insensitive. It does not make sense to me at all. No state institution that is working and making money should have Nanaya and Kokulumo and Xavier Demoji paying their bills for them, or else their service must be free. So all those institutions must pay their bills we are owing. All the government ministers must forthwith cancel all their fuel coupons. They must contribute. So all CEOs of state-owned institutions, all ministers, MPs, their friends, family, and loved ones who get a fuel coupon from Goyle and wherever, it must be cancelled now. They must contribute their 1 cedi forthwith. That is how you tell the people that we are in a bad place and we all are going to do our quota to ensure that we come out of the bad place and we can now enjoy the largesse of office.
Okay. Succinctly put, I think that also lays the issues to bear. So grateful to both of you. Let's now get on to the next story. The Greater Accra Regional Police Command has confirmed the arrest of a 55-year-old man, Theophilus Thompson, in connection with a recent assault on Joy News' journalist Latif Idrisu. The incident occurred on May 27th, 2025, around 7 p.m. during a demonstration held in front of the Economic Organized Crime Office, EOCO, in Accra. The protest was staged by a group of individuals, including some members of Parliament and supporters of the New Patriotic Party, in opposition to the arrest of the party's Ashanti Regional Chairman, Bernard Entry Boisiako, also known as Chairman Wuntumi. And so that's it. I don't know if you watched that particular video, or I was watching it live when I saw what they were. I mean, it's in a good direction, right? The right direction.
I think it's a very bad thing that happened. You see, the assault and the thing that happened to journalists. Sometimes I ask myself why people always want to attack journalists and people that usually help us. Because when you look at the roles of journalists in nation building, is a very important one. And over the years, we've seen a lot of verbal attack, physical attack on journalists, and we only hear, but the outcome is not really known, And I think it's high time that people are really persecuted, to serve as deterrent to others, because it's becoming unbecoming. Because sometimes you watch some news conference and a certain media house put its microphone and someone just push it away, verbal, saying all sort of things, and nothing is being done. And I think it's high time that there is something that is done to protect and safeguard the media, because a lot of people think that they can have their own way, and this country is ruled by laws, and you cannot just decide that, oh, I think I have the security or whatever, and just attack anyone that you think you can attack. So the person being arrested, it should not just be an issue of arrest. The case should not just be arrest. We should see the outcome of it. The person should be persecuted, if possible, jail, to serve as deterrent to others. I think that is the best.
All right. Any thoughts on that, Reverend Anayao?
I had the opportunity to watch the video, and I have a few concerns. First and foremost, I think that that's the assault, the person that conducted the assault has been identified and being prosecuted. It's a very good thing because, like Reverend Sylvia said, sometimes journalists are put in harm's way very unnecessarily, and some of these things must be addressed. Nonetheless, let me just say this. You see, and not to bash journalists, but I feel that the journalism I grew up observing as a young man and what I see now, I don't know whether there is no on-the-job training, professionalism is lacking. I mean, look, what Lateef did, if we were to look at it without the lenses of law, I would say he brought it upon himself. First and foremost, his attention was drawn to the fact that he was being manhandled by the police. The police had actually even forced him to delete some footage. And the very people that he said assaulted him were the ones that came to his aid, rescued him from the situation. And he confirmed that in the interview. You understand? So now when you do a report, when those tensions are high, in the midst of those same people, and you paint a picture that those people in their attempt to rescue you are rather attacking the police. Mind you, people have different levels of comprehension. Tempers are high. Some people are there, they are under other influences other than common sense. You are putting yourself in harm's way. What prevented Mr. Lateef, for example, from moving away from the frenzy with his cameraman to do that reportage? But he stood there in the midst of people flying up under different influences who are come there with their own agenda and making such statements. And they felt that you are not making a full representation because when you are under a barrage of attacks and bullying from the police service, they came to your rescue. And if in that rescue they overstep their bounds, they feel that you should not be saying that in that manner. I mean, you see, I've seen there's something about mob action. Oftentimes, people don't reason in mob action. When tempers are calm, they themselves start to admit that they've made a lot of foolish decisions. I'm sure this young person this person who has been accosted has come to his senses and realized that he could have made his point to Lateef without pelting him with stones. But you see, sometimes when tempers are high and are flaring, if we can move our reporting station away from that phase where this sort of interruptions can come in and we can be in harm's way, let us do so. Ghana's politics, look, some people are very infantile in their reasoning and in their logic. You understand? So infantile. Listen, I, for one, I wouldn't see why anybody should go to Yoko's premises. You don't know why the person has been arrested. You don't know what they do beside whatever they call themselves as party chairman. Look, Kwaku, sometimes we all have been shocked when charges have been brought against people in the public space, because sometimes what is brought as charges against them are things that we are totally oblivious to. We would never have known but for an investigation bringing them out. Would you have ever thought that a party chairman will have something like money laundering or even jacking of cars, stolen cars, etc., from another jurisdiction into this country? Because it doesn't relate to anything they do in the public space, whether it's their mining business or their politics. So you are there and you are putting yourself in harm's way. So even as I advise our journalists to learn to gauge the atmosphere and where they stand to do some of this reportage, I'm also advising some of these political activists. Don't let us dive blindly and head on into some of these things, because you put yourself in harm's way beyond the journalists being pelted. I'm sure there are other people that may have been hurt in that particular situation because they went there overacting, mob action. Please let us be very careful about this. And my sympathies and go to Lateef for, because I saw it, and he actually had to bend down to pick one of the stones to show to the camera, and told his cameraman that we have this on camera, we have this on tape, we'll file a report and so on. But please, when tempers are high and are flaring, I believe that, I remember, I think there was one particular issue where, I don't know what was an NPP era, I think that the police was being chased, if you remember. I think there was a riot. And then when the journalist was insisting on asking the PRO a question, he said, run for your safety. Then he was mocking the PRO that, but you're running for your safety and you are saying you are in charge. They said, you are a civilian, you're not safe, run for your safety. Sometimes we put too much on the line in trying to be the showman and the brave man, and we put ourselves in harm's way. What if it wasn't a stone and it was a knife that stabbed Lateef? What if somebody under an influence pulled out a pistol, jammed him and tore his lungs apart and put him in harm's way? So yes, you want to report the thing live from the site. people are incensed, move away from them so you don't put yourself in danger. But whatever happened is reprehensible. It must be condemned in no certain way. Prosecution must happen. And please, it is your fellow journalists, let's follow this story to the core. Like Reverend Sylvia said, these things start, and then it's like there's a lot of noise. Before you know, it's swept under the carpet and nothing happens. Look at how long it has taken to deal with Swale's case, and it is still not even concluded.
I find, okay, so when I was listening to you, you stated some positions, but finally I think you had just stated what, so he should have exercised some circumspection, you say, to especially within that space. But the raising of the issue of the other people with the police and they asking him to delete, that is also another case that he, the journalist, can report. So these are separate cases. So you, the journalist, can go to report that the police forcefully asked you to delete pictures. So that's it. So it's whether you helped me to delete, to not allow the police to heckle me, that's another case that I could file. The other case also has to do with you, whether or not you helped me does not give you the right to abuse me in that. I agree with the issue of exercising circumspection in some of these things and using your wisdom so that you are not hurt, because that's not the first time that this particular journalist will be caught in harm's way. He went for so long because of some of these things, but I'm saying that these are separate things that the people, the public, I mean, you just put it right, so I think we'll let it slide, isn't it? We'll just let it slide. Hajj, 7 Ghanaian pilgrims confirmed dead in Saudi Arabia. I don't know whether you have any thoughts on this particular one, but 5 women, 2 men. Although the identities were not disclosed, the Hajj board has informed the affected families in Ghana and extended condolences on behalf of the nation. Right, so that's it. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on this? Because Biadela was asking this morning whether or not it's got anything to do with you believing that it's a right place to even lose your life or something. I don't know.
Well, when it comes to Islam, they have very strict beliefs and understanding. You know, they are brothers and sisters, descendants of the Ishmaelite. You know, and one thing about Islam is that their conviction for what they believe is very strong. So when it comes to them, going to Mecca is really a privilege. And to go to Mecca is a way of, when you go through all the procedures that are being done there, is a form of purification. And when you come back from Mecca, you are declared as a new creation. All your sins have passed away and you are now called a Haji or Hajia. So it's a way of their belief. And it's rather unfortunate that when they do such pilgrims, it results to the death of people. I think last year there were about 17 people that passed on. And today, this year, I think it's a 7. And that is very sad. And my condolences to all the bereaved family. But all the same, there was a video circulating that there was a lady was commenting on the place they were. According to the weather, the temperature was around 48 degrees, and that is very hot. And they were in an open place. There was the hotels were all booked up, and where they were was very bad. I think it was just an open place with some student mattress, and you see ladies, mothers lying there, and that was, I think that may result to, apart from other underlying factors, but all the same, I think the Hajj committee should take it up seriously. If you are taking individuals for such a special program, there should be provision for them, the accommodation, where they stay, how they even live over there, because it's not just people from Ghana, people across the whole world, millions of people are gathered there, and you see them doing whatever they have to do according to their faith. So the committee should just put in measures in place to make sure that Ghanaians that have the privilege to go there are being protected. We don't have people going there and losing their lives, because I don't know how the families will be feeling. Your mom, your dad is going to Mecca with the belief that when they come back, it's going to be a blessing to the family, just to hear that they have passed on. And according to their religion, when you pass on, you have to be buried instantly. So the families may not even have the privilege to even send their last respect to the family. So that is very sad, but that is their belief, and there's nothing you can do about it. But I would just suggest that the committee that is responsible for this thing put in measures to safeguard and protect people anytime there is such cases, so that next year we don't have incidents like this coming up.
I see. Right. Are there any thoughts, Reverend Anel? Or we can leave it at that?
I mean, it's becoming an annual ritual. You hear what I'm saying? And if it were any other religious group, you will see how our journalists and media will put their mouth in it, whether it's a cathedral hall or anything. There's a way that, I don't know whether it's a fear for Islam or it's just a general hypocrisy of our larger society, or trying to be politically and socially correct. So we don't want to comment on these things dispassionately. But I'll be very dispassionate about it.
Yeah.
Listen, it is a lack of wisdom to be doing the same thing and be expecting a different set of results. This thing is happening every year. Reverend Xavier has just mentioned that about 17, a higher number, happened, and the year before. And it's oftentimes, it's not only Ghanaian nationals. People go there and die like that. So there's something fundamentally wrong somewhere. First and foremost, the Saudi government should take some responsibility. They should be mindful and capping the visas they give when this occasion comes on. It's not by force for somebody to come. If your capacity to hold the people around the Kaaba is 1 million, you must not grant more than 1 million visas. That's the first thing. Secondly, our government must engage with the Saudi government. I don't see any reason why there must be a Hajj village at our airport. I believe the Hajj village should be in Mecca. We should speak to the Saudi government, ask for a piece of land, what we want to build here. We should build it over there and use our old Terminal 1s and things that is for domestic, for that particular Hajj thing, dedicate aspects of the place for the Hajj, because we have the infrastructure here. Let's go there. After all, our Washington consulate owns a building in the United States. Most of our consulate, whatever, we own the property. There's nothing wrong. We want to help our Muslim brothers. Let us build that Hajj village rather than in Mecca. Let's pay for it. Let's ask for money and say this is investment. So we know that if we are carrying 200 pilgrims, 300 pilgrims, they are going to be in a place where we have a 300 capacity residence over there that is going to be used at least once a year, and to bring us that particular income. It will guarantee safety. Like what Reverend Savior said, when you see some people are under tents, what they are is actually a tent that has been fitted with some air conditioning and some toilet facility around the place. I don't think in the name of going to look for God, you should live in such an inhumane environment. I would not leave the comfort of the kind of home I live in to go and be on an open field on a tent. And I think that the government and the Hajj board should be pragmatic. If we can have our own hostel facility there, the year that we are even taking lesser programs, we can outsource and let others come and rent our facility and get passive income from it. It can become a hub that can be used during the year as some sort of Airbnb for people that are even doing business in Saudi, and then make income from it and make sure our people are under very proper conditions when they go there. And then also when it comes to going around the Kaaba and performing all those other rites, the people get stampeded. People are choked in the heat and all that. We must make sure that everybody living in this country has gone through a thorough medical check and is fit to undergo the rigorous activity of the pilgrimage, and not for the fact that you just want to go and fulfill one of the 5 pillars of Islam. Before you fulfill a pillar, you must yourself be a pillar that is well grounded. Because this thing of people dying, Koku, is not right. It is not right. You can't go and seek God and then end up as a corpse. And like Reverend Xavier said, it's a very painful thing that you must be buried within 24 hours. And even your loved ones will not have the opportunity of closure. In fact, I saw a news bulletin this morning that the Ghanaian pilgrims have already been buried. I would not like, our culture as Black African people, it is at funerals that we see that person and then we have closure and part ways properly. We are a people that have great respect for people, loved ones that we lose. And there's a way that we say bye-bye to them and part with them. And to be caught up in a strange land in that manner is totally unacceptable. It runs counter to our African culture, irrespective of whatever religious persuasion that we have. Because our culture is us, and then our faith follows subsequently. Our faith came to meet us within our culture. And whatever cultural context we have, that does not run contrary to our faith must not be, undermined and treated in this manner. Can you imagine Saudi citizens dying every year in Ghana in that manner? I'm telling you, the Saudi government would have taken some action about it. So please, Hajj board, don't let us be overwhelmed by the joy of going to Mecca. This thing must be solved. But if we discuss this thing again next year, it will not be a nice commentary from some of us.
Right. The Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association has defended its ongoing strike, insisting it remains the only effective tool to compel government action on their long-delayed conditions of service. This follows renewed calls by Health Minister Kwabena Minta Kando for the striking nurses to suspend their industrial action and return to the negotiation table. The only.
Well, I think the nurses are being insensitive now. It's in a way because one, you've been invited to come to a negotiation table. You presented your demands, and all plans to get you to sit down and discuss have proved futile. And they are only insisting on something that they have put across: their 13-month salary, their fuel allowances, the clothes allowances. These are all things that everybody knows that you need. Okay, this is something that is a form of motivation for you to do your work. And the government is willing. The good news is that this is a listening government that is willing to listen to your plight. Over the weeks, I think there was a news that their strike was even illegal. Okay, but they've been invited to come, and I saw the minister going to some of the health facilities, seeing what is happening, and it's very sad, because when you see only doctors in a consulting without the assistance of nurses, and some of the doctors were going to the extreme of trying to play their role, and it is not an easy something. And these are Ghanaians that are suffering. People are sick. People are going through all sorts of things. And you have gone through the required training and taken a vow to preserve life. And this is just a negotiation of something that have been on the table over the years. These are things that you are advocating for. And over the years, there have been a lot of discussions on it. Come and let's conclude on it. You say no. And you are saying that you think strike is the only weapon. Weapon for what? And people are struggling. People are in pain. People are dying. And you are still insisting. Whilst the government is open up for you to come and discuss. I think they are becoming very insensitive to some of these things. And as much as their case is fine, what they are advancing may look a bit wicked, because you may have a right cause, you may have a right case to present. This is not just something current. It's something that has been existing over the years. You've been pushing, the government have been negotiating with you. So if you are calling for certain rights or certain privilege to be given to you, and the government is willing to negotiate with you, and you are insisting that you think that if you are on strike, your demand will be accepted. The fact that you are demanding 100% increment or 100% or 13-month salary, the government is there to negotiate with you. This is what we can offer.
Okay.
This is what we can give you. So why won't you just work whilst they look at those things? But they are just deciding, and for them saying that strike is our only way of weapon, I think it's to me, they are being very insensitive. The group the leadership should meet the minister, because the minister is willing to dialogue with them. Look at him going around trying to see how things are and to make sure that people don't lose their life. And they are still insisting and cheering their members to be on strike. I think that is wrong.
I see. Reverend Anaya.
Kogu, please, if you would permit me, let me just put the issue a bit in perspective before I land on the fact that I don't wholly agree with Reverend Sylvia Demoji on this matter. I was fortunate to have listened in on interviews on some sister stations. First, the Deputy PRO, and then first the Substantive Minister, Honorable Minta Kando, and then the Deputy PRO of the GRNMA. Now, this is the crux which both parties agree on. The various professionals in the health sector, doctors, pharmacists, etc., had concluded a bargaining agreement with the government as of last year. And those other professionals have had theirs approved and they're already enjoying the benefits. The Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwife Association is not at a negotiation with the government. They are telling the government that we were told to hold on with our implementation, and we are insisting that it be implemented. So it's not an issue of negotiation. And so the substantive health minister has said that he is also speaking with government for the funds to be made available so that the implementation can be rolled out because they are new. Over time, the association has allowed the minister that leverage because you are new, you have come to meet bills, you have to settle down and all that. In their estimation, they are saying that this particular we are settling in is being used to hold them to ransom, and the members are putting them under pressure. So it is the members themselves, because they're giving them feedback that the minister has shown goodwill. He's willing to pull the necessary strings to make funds available for us to move into implementation. But they are saying that the members have decided to run riots and say that, listen, we do not care what you executives and council is saying. We are the highest decision-making body, and this is what we want to do. And I like the minister's posture because the minister is not using strong words like insensitivity because they are well within their rights. When a bargaining agreement is reached, what is done is that it's implemented. It's not renegotiated because it's a demonstration of bad faith. And I've not heard the minister grant any interview saying that there was a need for renegotiation. Rather, he's pleading that give us time because we want to do something that will be permanent and can be sustainable. And I think that that is where the Ghana Registered Nurse Association also believe that unlike the other health professionals within the health delivery fraternity, they are being taken for granted. And they feel that if they take this route and this action, they will get the government's attention and audience. You see, unfortunately, and there's a rule that when they are on, they declare a strike, I think 48 hours or 72 hours or something, the government is mandated to meet with them and resolve the issue because they are the only organization whose services will always result in a loss of human life. That cannot be remedied and undone. So I think that they are just holding the government between the rock and a hard place. I think the way to go is to appeal. But when we drop strong words like they are being insensitive and all that, I think that it doesn't sit too well because they are very well within their rights asking for what is theirs because it's been concluded. And if we agree that government is continuous, just like President Kufuor negotiated single spine salary and then dropped it on Professor Mills, but Professor Mills was able to convince the Ghanaian populace and the working class to wait for a while, give him enough room, and then it was rolled out, the single spine was done. I think that that is the way that we should go. I think the executive should be able to hold their members and tell them, listen, the minister has demonstrated goodwill. We're giving you indication of that already. And if they've asked for time, let us give them that time and let's go back to work because the consequence of their actions is an irreversible and irreparable damage. When people lose their lives because they were denied health care, nothing can be done to bring it back, even when the issues have been addressed. So I believe that if it's possible, our president should step in, our vice president should step in, people of clout and repute should step in. Some meeting must be done behind closed doors, even if it means that the larger society of the nurses must be met at a public place that a larger number of them can congregate in camera, and then sincere conversations take place so that they can go back to work as soon as possible. Because it's not demands that they are now making. They are things that have been settled, agreed upon, and it's at the implementation phase, and they feel that it is taking too long for it to happen. Because I've read a few commentary about some of these nurses, and sometimes the kind of discomfort and bills they have to pay, even for their own healthcare and for that of their dependents, it can be pretty disheartening that you work in an environment where you don't even have a sort of insurance cover because of the risk that you were exposed to by virtue of your work. And quite a lot of them suffered significantly in the COVID period because of our inability to cover them in the area of risk and stuff like that. So I think it's something that we must look at holistically. If you ask me, I think this government has demonstrated a lot of goodwill And if I were in the shoes of the nurses, I would give this government the benefit of the doubt, and then let us be able to see a clear way forward. I saw this morning that they are now withdrawing services 100% full scale. I think that is uncalled for, even if it is partial, until this matter is resolved and they are fully back on track. I don't want to see this thing going beyond even Tuesday. At least by the close of day today, we should be able to read something so that by Tuesday we can see that people's lives are not in danger. It's terrible. We forget that nurses also are even assisting in the theater. They are theater nurses. So people that are scheduled for surgeries who all need to be assisted, people that, some of these nurses are also helping setting up dialysis and all that for patients. Look, dialysis can't wait. You get what I'm saying? Somebody has some very gruesome, car accident and has been rushed in, and we need some theater nurses there to assist for these surgeries to be carried out. It can't wait. So please, for crying out loud, our brothers and sisters in Florence Nightingale's Fraternity of Nursing, our knees are on the ground. For the sake of your fellow Ghanaians, your own family members who can be taken ill, we are humbly appealing. Please don't take it as politics as usual, and they are, as they say in Nigeria, they are whining or they are spinning you. Please, with all humility, this government has demonstrated some goodwill. We can see dollar coming down, fuel prices going down, transportation prices going down. It means that there's an attempt to try and stabilize things. I beg you in the name of God, if you can just give them a few more weeks to tie the necessary bolts and knots. I speak on behalf of the health minister. I speak on behalf of the president. I speak on behalf of the ailing people of Ghana who are in pain. Please, with all humility, if you can hear me, I speak and plead with you that for our sakes and for the sake of good conscience, kindly return there and let's save lives.
Righty, succinctly put, right there. Let's do the very last story, shall we? Ghana, 50 million Ghana cedis allocated to National Research Fund, Education Minister reveals. The government has allocated 50 million Ghana cedis to kickstart the implementation of the National Research Fund this year. The amount, which is seed allocation, is expected to assist academia to conduct research aimed at fostering the development of the country. Meanwhile, the amount is expected to be increased to 100 million cedis next year. More than two decades ago, lecturers in public institutions of higher learning withdrew their services, blaming government for delaying the payment of their book and research allowances. This created a lot of agitations on the education front, which disrupted smooth academic work.
Well, I think that is good news. During the COVID time, we saw the importance of a lot of research institutions in this country and their ability to come out with good things. So for fund to be released to empower national research, I think it's a welcoming one. We should all be excited about it. I think it will boost the education service to do a lot of research because, when we talk of research, it's one of the things that really help nation building. Because when you talk of scientific research in a lot of things, it all comes with money. So when there is a release of fund and government backings to support such initiative, it's welcoming. So we just have to wait for the best to come out of that.
Right.
Of accountability again. And I do not say this to spite anyone. There was one particular course I did in architecture, right? I don't want to mention the course because the lecturer may be watching and would know. My classmate's father, who finished about 20 years or so before that particular lecturer ever came to architecture school, brought his father's notes to us. And we realized that was the same notes that the lecturer was reading to us. You see, so my issue is that the government must have a monitoring system. From time to time, some of the slides from lecturers and things must be compared with past slides to make sure that they are doing research and they are current on teaching us. Again, I had the opportunity to assist a particular professor, right? He was very current. He would come to one particular state agency to even come and collect current data, BRRI and other places, and was teaching the students with it. Can you imagine that he went on sabbatical, gave the students an assignment, a new lecturer comes in and he failed the whole class because he was totally oblivious of the new formulas that were in town. and failed the class. And it took the students going Nicodemus to go and tell their lecturer on sabbatical that, Charlie, the guy here doesn't seem to be kind, because they know if they raise it, they may not graduate. In our kind of system we run in our universities, it is terrible. I remember when I was being taught a particular subject in this one, I'll mention it. Structures, we call it reinforced concrete design. We were looking at that time where we had BS code, BS, I think 8116 or something. This guy was teaching us with a CP code, CP that was outmoded, not being used anywhere in the world. The man was teaching us this. So me that I want to be modern, I went to my brother's mates who were civil engineers to go and learn the BS code from them. You see, so sometimes when they are on the strike for some of these things, they are not doing the research with the monies that are being given. You cannot be teaching us Methuselah theories when modern things, little children in China are doing innovative things. And we are here joking and teaching ancient things. So please, if this money has been given, the universities are autonomous, yes, but the Ministry of Education must have systems to work with the universities to ensure that our lectures are current and they are warm and they are giving us current things. AI, machine learning things are in there. I remember when I did my project work, we were the first batch who did our postgraduate thesis using AutoCAD. Can you imagine some lecturers came and said, "Do not let us graduate"? What was our offense? We didn't work. We just sounded the computer drew for us. They don't even know that the computer was just an interface. So instead of a drawing board and a T-square, the computer now becomes your drawing board and your T-square. But all the design you are doing like you would normally do in every situation. Can you imagine? And these were professors with gray hair. It is not a nice thing. And we want to compete with South Africa, we want to compete with Hong Kong, with China, with United States. Please, let's wake up. My last point is that government must ensure that industry is connected to research. Reverend Xavier just said it. Until COVID, industry was not looking for research information. We must cooperate with them and make sure that findings that happen will be used to improve the life of Ghanaians. You know, one district, one factory. One district, one factory is a research that my year group did when we were in third year. We have something we call rural design. You go there to go and look at the rural areas, look at the things that grow in their community, and see cottage industries that can be started. We did that at Fade and Mampontin in Ashanti region. We did the same thing in a clustered community that looks like a Nima kind of highly populated, dense populated area in Ashanti region, in Kumasi. The research information is there. Look at how many years it took before one president came to say one district, one factory, which even didn't manifest. So the researchers know where Ghana's problems are, and they found solutions with clear data that backs it. But we won't go for it. So please, research must connect with industry to bring practical solutions so we can leverage in the area where we have competitive advantage to move our nation forward. Thank you.
And thank you very much. And that's also a great thought shared there. We're grateful. Thank you very much indeed. And thank you. Reverend Xavier Demoji is a clinical engineer by profession and also by calling. Is an assistant pastor with Action Chapel International Tertiary branch. And of course, Reverend Anaya Bafobon is an architect and a builder by profession, and also is the head pastor for the Eagles Network International Ministries. We're grateful. Thank you for your time. Well, up next is Trends and Entertainment, or Tech and Trends, if you like. You want to stay with us, we'll be right back.